As a non-technical professional, you have the skills to help run a data science project. Yes, you. And by the end of this video, you'll have the full walkthrough on how. Invite innovation into your role and future-proof your career. There are at least 12 ways you can provide value to data scientists and contribute to data science projects. In this video, we'll briefly walk you through the stages in a typical data science workflow and focus at each stage on where and in what ways you can provide value at every step in the process. If you are able to do this, you can provide tangible value to your organization. And in the process, you'll develop new skill sets and make yourself more marketable to future employers. If you're interested in data science but don't have the time to go back and get a whole new degree, this is how you leverage your existing skills and experience to advance the career you have rather than starting from scratch. If you have already taken us up on our offer and completed the first module of our course, Fluent in AI, which is still available entirely for free, you may now be convinced that data science is too important to be left to data scientists alone. You may be convinced that you can make important contributions, but you may have some questions around what those contributions would look like. Let's jump straight into things. Imagine you are sitting at your desk or in your office and someone has just walked through the door with a data scientist in tow. You're instructed to talk to the data scientist and figure out how he can help your organization do whatever it does better. It might seem absurd to be given so little direction, but the truth is that quite often, data scientists find themselves in the role of a solution looking for a problem. That's not ideal, but it does tend to be what happens much of the time. And that data scientist you just got introduced to might have only a minimal level of context, domain expertise, or specific direction to help them find and tackle a worthwhile project. And that presents a tremendous opportunity for you to stand out, jumpstart your foray into data science, and provide immediate value to your organization. The reality for most organizations is that data scientists need non-technical business partners who understand what they do and know how to talk to them. But it is equally true that the vast majority of people at your organization probably don't know how to effectively partner with data scientists. So, if you've taken our course and you find yourself in this situation, you will know what to do. You will know how to partner with data scientists, and you will have the foundational understanding around working with data, machine learning, and AI applications. You will be able to have productive conversations and lead successful data projects. So what exactly does that look like? How do you talk to the data scientist? The first phase is context setting. You need to provide as much background info as possible to help your data science partner establish significant context for everything that comes next. Your goal is to help them, your data science partner, become as well versed in your business function as your CEO ought to be. This doesn't mean they need to know all the specifics and the day-to-day realities of your function. What it does mean is helping them acquire a very clear understanding of at least 4 broad issues. First, what's important to your function? What are your KPIs? Second, where are their problems? Where are your pain points? Third, how have you tried to solve these problems in the past? And fourth, what data do you have available to work with? So this is step 1. Provide extensive context and background information. It might seem obvious, but it's often overlooked. And overlooking it is one of the surest ways to set your data science partners up to fail. Once you've set context, you need to define the problem you're going to tackle with your data science partners. In short, you need to come to a defensible decision around where you should focus your joint attention. The objective here is to define a concrete project with clear, measurable business objectives and an actionable plan to reach them. You should start by determining worthwhile problems to tackle. Make a list. From this list, determine what's actionable using data science. Of worthwhile and actionable problems, we would advise that you start small. Why? Because taking a longer view on your approach to data science projects, you need to understand an unfortunate but almost inevitable reality about data. Data is the foundation upon which any data science project is built. It also tends to be the number 1 reason projects fail. Data tends to be messy and it tends to be hard. Your objective when taking up the mantle of the AI Fluent business partner and data science advocate should therefore seldom be a single-minded focus on delivering a project. You should view projects as a means to become as familiar as possible with the ins and outs of your business's data and all of its shortcomings. The reality is that the data is probably not there. It's probably not good. Often, therefore, the best approach is to start with something simple, simpler than you would expect, perhaps even embarrassingly simple. This sets you up for success, not just with your initial project, but also in your quest to learn the data and become familiar with its strengths, its shortcomings, and its potential. Once you've determined a problem to tackle using data science, you will need to have a clear idea of how you define success. Define the criteria by which the project will be evaluated on its merits. Ensure you get clarity, consensus, and buy-in from all stakeholders around the project, its objectives, and the evaluation criteria before you begin preparing for development. So, to summarize the problem definition stage, we have 4 steps. Building upon the context setting stage, step 2 is to set objectives and ask the right questions. Step 3 is to perform a basic feasibility and impact assessment. And step 4 is to get consensus and clarity and agree upon evaluation criteria. Now you're ready to prepare for development. Don't be tempted to rush in without spending enough time on preparation. Don't let your data scientists miss the forest for the trees. In short, set yourself up for success before you begin the actual development, training, and testing of the model. Why is this important? Data scientists are trained to understand data in general. That doesn't necessarily mean you should expect them to have intrinsic knowledge of your data, your systems, your business processes, your business timeframe requirements. It's about getting them from the stage where they can do things in general to the stage where they can do things specifically for your organization. There are 3 important steps that you shouldn't skip over here. The next part of the process, step 5, is to get to grips with the data, what you have and what you need. Work with data scientists to make them as knowledgeable as possible about the data that's necessary or relevant to this project. In step 6, you should anticipate developers' access requirements, system access requirements. You will need to help them get full and complete access to the systems which house this data. And step 7 is about assessing project timelines. Our best advice here is to scope heavy and be flexible. Due to the iterative nature of data science projects, you should also anticipate the need for a heavy and iterative scoping phase and build this step into your expectations and project timeline. At this stage, you've laid the groundwork. You're ready to tackle the critical development and testing phases of the project, and you're all prepared. Helping your data science partners engineer features is one of the most important ways you can provide value across the entire development lifecycle. You can do this in at least 3 ways. First, come prepared with your own hypotheses. Second, help bridge the gap between your data and the real world. And third, paint a broad and comprehensive picture of your business. Effective feature engineering and hypothesis testing puts the science in data science. With well-designed features in hand, the data scientists will then begin development, i.e. selecting, training, testing, and tuning the algorithm. Their job is to find and tune the approach that maximizes the predictive power of the resulting model, which will also generalize well to the real world. While this stage of the project, the actual development, falls squarely within the data scientist domain, you do need to have a basic understanding of what they are doing and why they are doing it. You should also be prepared to discuss and analyze the performance results, error metrics they are able to achieve in the lab, and be prepared for the need to conduct real-world tests before declaring success. You should be aware that due to the ever-present risk of overfitting, performance in the field may be less, sometimes significantly less, than they achieved in their tests in the lab. Let's recap the development and testing phase. Step 8 is feature engineering, where it's crucial you come prepared with your own hypotheses. And step 9 is where data scientists will take the lead to train, test, and tune the model in the lab. We can't overemphasize the importance of step 8 for getting the maximal chance of success in step 9. Finally, we come to the crux. You and your data science partners have determined that your model works in the lab. But it's not enough to develop a model that works well in theory. Even if it was well designed, fed good data, and rigorously tested. You must ensure it actually works in practice, and you must drive adoption. You must ensure it actually delivers value to your organization. That's by no means guaranteed. You need to help bridge that gap. So what can you do? You need to move from theory to reality through well-designed testing in the real world. You need to ensure that the production-ready machine learning or AI applications are actually used to their full capacity and effectively integrated into the larger relevant business workflows. And you need to actively monitor the model or application to ensure that it doesn't degrade or become less useful over time. Getting a model into production is only the first part of an application's lifecycle. It needs to be maintained for as long as it is used. Driving adoption and influencing meaningful behavioral changes across an organization is one of the most challenging parts of any data science project. As the domain expert most familiar with the relevant aspects of the business, this is an aspect of the project development lifecycle that you should pay close attention to. Let's recap these final steps. Step 10 is testing the model in production, where the data scientist will design the experiment, but your team will be the one to conduct it. Step 11 is integrating it into existing business processes. And step 12 is maintenance, ensuring it remains useful over its lifecycle. So there you have it, 12 ways you can provide value to data scientists and contribute to data science projects. That's the what you can do. To understand how, you need some more groundwork. You need to understand what AI applications can do in the workplace and what they can't do. You need to understand the fundamentals behind the machine learning and deep learning approaches that are driving the latest wave of excitement and hype around AI. And you need to understand what it is, at a high level, that data scientists and other technical professionals are actually doing when they build AI applications, to learn to speak a common language with data science teams. That's why we created Fluent in AI, a comprehensive and engaging online course designed to help non-technical business professionals develop the skills they need to develop all of these skill sets and more. This course contains 4 parts and 12 modules of engaging audio-video content designed to be completed in 12 to 16 hours. It also comes with free and downloadable supplemental materials. We've designed it so that you can tackle 1 part a week and complete it in less than a month. But nothing would prevent you from completing it faster, much faster, if you're so inclined. We're currently offering the first module of our course and your first step toward AI fluency entirely free. In this module, we tackle the ambiguity around AI, dispel common misconceptions, and help demystify what it means in the workplace. We hope to convince you that you have an important role to play in your organization's AI strategy. Create a free account and start your journey today.